next example, I'm going to show you guys how to make a perforated panel with a bunch of circles and a bit of random radiuses in them. So I'm gonna delete this file, but keep a few things from it. So the stuff, the random stuff I was doing, I want to keep them in. And okay, that's there, and that's that. Before doing anything, there's an interesting tool here for organizing your stuff, because as you can see, I'm doing the tutorials very quickly, so it gets very messy, and if I want something to find it, it's difficult to do. So a way to organize your stuff is, first of all, the one that I show. So selecting stuff, going there, cleaning up the layout, and aligning stuff when needed. Also, whenever you make a module that does something specific for you, you want to define that as a new tool. So two ways to do that. One is to select everything and make a group. So now I have a group. I can call this random generator. So now I know what this thing does. I can also right click on my group and say clean up the node layouts. So now I've got a group that here's the input and there's the output. I don't care what's inside, and when I look at it from a distance, it's cleaner. I can also change the font size, so from a distance I can read that, or the color and everything. So it helps me a lot in organizing stuff. The other thing I can do instead of grouping is that select everything and go to edit and create a node from the selection. So what this does is to make a new node. Randomizer is what I'm calling it, giving it a category. It could be core math. And now I've got a new node that does all those stuff for me under just one very simple look. I recommend doing the grouping a lot, because you always have easy access to everything you were doing, and it really helps you to organize stuff. Also helps other people reading your script to understand what you were doing, especially if you do good annotation and write stuff there.
Can you go backwards from a node?
You should be able to, because it shows it in kind of a iconic thing at the back. I've never tried it, but I guess that you should be able to. Okay, so let's do this. First of all, I want to make an array of points. So getting the points, if you guys remember, I was mentioning before, when you want to deal with points, it's good to go to your conceptual mass environment. So we go there. And then I'm not going to look at Revit anymore. Okay, here's my point. Then I'll get a range of numbers. I could also get a sequence. I want to explain another technique here. So if I get on a slider, let's say integer slider, and place this to the amount, also give this to the steps, and give this to X and Y, and then go back to our graphic at the background, see what we have. It's not showing up. The reason is that it's not running. I should click on run, or I would keep it at manual again. Oops, I've got the random down there. Let's make it, okay. I'll keep it to manual. I'll go back. If you have something in the screen and you don't want it to work, you can basically and very easily just right click and freeze it. Then these things are not working. I'm a bit worried that this may crash or freeze again. Now I can make it automatic. I want to make them a bit bigger, so I want to have 10 of these guys, and I want the stepping to be a bit bigger. Okay, start from 0. There. And now change the lacing here. I'm getting my grid. Now I want to make a rectangle that goes around these guys. So I'll do a rectangle by height, by width and length. So I would grab this guy and put it here and make it bigger. I want to find a solution for placement of this grid in the center that is not looking like that. And the thing I can think of is to, instead of doing a sequence, actually do a range starting from 0, ending, let's say, at 60, and steps are, let's say, 10, and give this to x and y. Still the same thing, but for the start point, I want to define a function. So as much as you can limit the number of manual inputs and generate them through a function, it's more parametric and easier to control your stuff. So I want just to make that number into a negative. So I multiply my end with a -1. I give it to start. Now I've got a centralized grid. The only thing I need to do now is to change this guy to 120. So now it's covering everything. Let's reduce that to maybe 30 just to make it a bit smaller and easier to deal with. Okay, so now I've got a rectangle with a grid in the middle. I want to give them, first of all, I want to see the organization of the data tree that I have. As you can see, these are lists inside lists. Just to avoid them from the beginning, I would do a flatten from here. So flatten the whole tree, getting the watch again and seeing what I've done. Okay, now I've got a clean list of the points now. I want to basically and very simply just place circles here that we have done before by point and radius. So a circle with this point and a number for the radius. And the reason I'm not giving it a lot of sliders, I just want to make sure that they are not getting very big and out of hand and make the machine crash. So now I've got circles of 4 placed there. I want to make this into a perforated panel. So I would make a surface out of my rectangle, a surface by patch. So rectangle to that surface, I've got this. And my guess is because I can do intersections, if I intersect all of my, so if I type in intersect, you can see the different options you have here to work with. For now, I want to use the intersect all. So it is getting a geometry, and I can define my cut geometry to cut it with, but it's not gonna work. And I'll explain how to get it to work. But you can see it's not giving me any errors, but the result it's giving me is an empty list. The way to solve that is to actually use a trim function. So I'm gonna go look for trim geometry, and this is the trim. What this does is to create a trim geometry based on the surface that I have, the circle that I have, and the points those circles are placed. So if I stand on it, I should explain what it does. So it removes elements of the entity closest to the pick point. Now this geometry, I think I need to flatten this, but let's try and see what this does. Okay, let me hide everything so that these are not distracting my view. I don't want to see this, I don't want to see that, and I don't want, just want to see this. It's not cutting, so maybe it's not flattened. this should be working, but it's not, and I don't know why. Okay, let's try it. Okay, next step was to thicken the surface. So it's very easy here in Dynamo. I can just easily pick whatever surface that I have and thicken it. What's happening there? I don't know. Give it a number of thickness. In this case, 3, and I should thicken that. Let me try one more thing here, okay? Let me just disable that and run this. Okay. Okay, this is working, and the reason is, okay, review it one more time. So I've got a rectangle, 120, 120. I've got my array of points. I've got my flattened the points. Then I have placed the circles there. I made the surface by patch. Then I did the geometry trim. So the surface is going to the geometry, the circles are going to the others, and the points are going to the pick. The geometry has been flattened and given to the others, and then in the intersect all, and then the surface was given to the geometry in the intersect all, and then the result was thickened, as you can see in the background. Now I've got a perforated panel. Similar to the previous examples, I could put in a attractor point in to navigate the radiuses of these guys based on that. But for now, from the randomizer that I kept from last time, just want to multiply that with the radius that I have and randomize the circles.
Sorry, what was the issue that you couldn't trim the circles before?
I have no idea, because this is basically the same thing. So
Okay.
probably if you save, close, and open, it should change or something, but
Okay.
it's basically everything's the same. Sometimes troubleshooting is not the easiest thing in Grasshopper. So as you can, in Dynamo. Okay, now this is the perforated panel that we're trying to make.